Please stop making it hard to promote yourself at the office. We all deserve to have a fantastic career. And what I'm finding out is sometimes we make it a bigger deal. And what we're doing is we're creating a lot of stress and problems for other people who just want to see the best in us. My name is Cantey. I'm an executive coach and a podcast host of Business Vitality. And it is springtime in the South. So it's time to go outside. And I thought it'd be fun to be on the porch today. Today, I want to share with you why people are making it so hard on themselves to get a promotion. So, last week, I spent some time with an individual, and this leader is of the age that should be getting promotions, should be getting recognition, wants to shift from being seen how she used to be seen to how she wants to be seen going forward. And as I listened to this conversation, three different things came to mind. And one of the things that kind of popped up before I knew I could even share anything is the question, are you ready to create the change that you say you need in your life? And truly, if we're not ready for it, there's no way that we're going to be able to make these changes. There's no way that we're going to be able to receive the information that is waiting on us to release the baggage to be able to step up and be this leader that we know that we can be. And so, after about a good 20-minute discussion, it was only one sided, this discussion. It was 20 minutes of just nonstop talk. And I thought, like, this is not a two-way conversation. This is just a person talking to themselves. And I happen to be on the other line. And at the very end, there was this question, what do I do? I was like, I mean, first of all, are you in enough pain to actually finally create the change that you say you deserve? And so that's the first question that we've got to start with is, are you ready to finally create the change that you say you deserve? My name is Catherine Cantey. I'm an executive coach. I'm a podcast host of Business Vitality. Business Vitality is my proven framework of 20 years of living in corporate combined with my leadership training. These are all of the same best practices that I have been doing since I was 22 years old, starting in corporate. I didn't realize I was starting a process back then, but as I reflect back on my career, these are the same processes that I've been doing for decades. And I'm finding out that these are also some of the practical applications that businesses are doing to remain vital month after month, year after year, decade after decade. And so sometimes life doesn't have to be too hard. We can go back and find some best practices and get back to the basics from others and be able to use those tools and practical resources and be able to create success for ourselves and for our teams. And so as I get back into this conversation that I had last week, what I'm learning is this individual wanted to talk. And so I just gave them the space to talk. Luckily, I was driving. So it was some entertainment along the drive. But just to hear this person really just release this amount of just stress and anxiety and just this feeling of I deserve to be promoted. And so we dig into it, and that was the first question I asked is, are you really ready for the promotion? Are you really ready to put yourself in that light? And as I shared with this person, I said, we behave the way we want to be seen. And so I remember being 24 years old and someone after the fact over a phone call called a colleague and said, I'm convinced that Catherine must be 65 years old. And I'm not 65, I was 24. But I imagine I was portraying a 65-year-old experienced personality on the phone, and it delivered. And so I work with folks and I help them find solutions of how to elevate their presence and how to be seen in the light that they're ready to be seen. Sometimes we have leaders that are in the organization and we don't know if they're capable of doing more. And so we stretch them just a little bit. And, as I'm talking to this individual, I wanted to first point out, and I don't know how ready the individual is, but the attitude is the first thing that I really wanted to point out. It had this overwhelming attitude of just, I've been here longer and I deserve to be promoted. And it doesn't work. You cannot just show up because you have seniority and expect to get promoted. And if you have someone senior or someone even on your team who's asking for help, and your reply is, I'm really busy right now, you're not going to get elevated in the right light. You really need to work on creating benefit for the people around us. And in one example, it was this person needed some bios because they were going to be introducing speakers. And the reply came back as, I'm really busy right now. She should know how to pull bios. And my response was, how hard is it for you to go to LinkedIn and pull a couple paragraphs from each one of these speakers, stick it in a folder, give it to her, look really good, better yet, make her look really good when she does the bio, because you're on the same team and you want to make the team look good. So don't just shut other people down because you feel like you need to be seen in a new light, but you're not willing to actually step up and make these changes. So, it's just important for us to be able to step up and realize first, are we ready to be able to make those changes? Are we ready to actually do something about it and not just say we're ready and therefore I should be given something? It just doesn't work that way. It's never worked for me that way. And I don't think it's going to work for other people that way. Maybe it does. I don't know, but I have never seen it work. My name is Cantey. I'm an executive coach, podcast host of Business Vitality. And today I'm just sharing why some folks may not be getting promoted like they feel that they are entitled to getting. The first thing is the attitude. The attitude just may stink. And the next thing I want to be able to share is, how are you negotiating? So negotiating is really important. And I came up with a phrase. It's a 3-to-1 negotiation phrase or technique. And what I have found is, when you go into an organization, when you're new, when you're starting out, when you're throughout your career, you need to lead with value. You need to lead with how you want to be seen in the organization. And so you cannot go ask someone for something until you've given. And you have got to give 3 times before you can come back and even remotely ask for anything small. And so, very often, very early in my career, I would lead and I would give and I would help and I would serve. And then after I did that a good 3 times, making that other person look good, I would go back and I would reiterate, I enjoyed pulling those bios for you. I enjoyed that, how good you looked up there. It was a great reflection on our team. And I really want to continue to contribute to this organization. And I would love to find ways to keep growing here. So with the next opportunity that comes up, I would love to be considered. And if I continue to create these discussions and continue to lead with value and help and give, and then I would periodically come back in and I would share, I want to keep growing here. Like, what else can I do? Or to make it easy on that person, start to look at the job descriptions of the next level you want to look at and start figuring out what that gap is and start closing that gap intentionally. And so when you begin to negotiate with other people, your senior leadership team or whoever else it may be around you, you've got to start leading with value, leading with kindness, leading with good stuff. So it makes it easy for them to come back and want to promote you and want to continue to bring them with you within the organizational growth. My name is Catherine Cantey. I'm an executive coach and a podcast host. Today, we're talking about why you may not be getting promoted. And you may not be getting promoted because the attitude may be poor. It may be draining. It may have like poor energy that's going on. And you may be leaning on the fact that, you're just tired of helping other people. And I love the fact that when people are like, I've just told them I can't help, but my attitude's not coming through. I beg to differ, because I could feel the attitude coming through the phone and it hurt. And I can only imagine what that attitude was like when you're sitting across the table trying to have a conversation with somebody. So if you don't feel that you're gaining the recognition, one observation that I've noticed this past week is, how's the attitude coming across? How's the energy coming across? How are you helping other people? The second thing that we've talked about is, how are you negotiating intentionally with the people around you? And I've shared the 3-to-1 technique that just works for me. Lead with kindness, 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 and then come back and follow up and be able to have these discussions of how you enjoy supporting other people and how you want to continue to grow within the organization. If you do not intentionally show your value and intentionally ask for what's next and provide that curiosity of what else is next, you're not going to be considered. You could be you could be 72 and about to retire, and you're like, gosh, I never did get recognized. Well, you never did ask. You never did lead with this kindness and then come back and follow up with, I really enjoyed helping these folks, and I would like to keep growing within the organization and being positive and energetic about it. That's what people want to see. People want to be around other people with great energy and excitement and service. Who wants to be around other people who are pulling down the energy and not helping? Nobody wants that. So if you're looking for a promotion, the first thing is check the attitude. And if you think you're covering it up, I will almost bet you anything you are not covering it up nearly as well as what you think you are. The second thing is you got to learn how to negotiate with intention for your career. And consider the 3 to 1. Do 3 nice things and then go back and follow up and explain to them that you want to continue to grow within the organization. How can you continue to grow? And just start the conversation there. The third thing I want to be able to share with you, this is a phrase that I made up, but it is called word vomiting. Junior employees come in and they just vomit all these words and they just talk to no end. Now, look at the other end of the spectrum. Look at the CEOs of the organization. Look at the chairman of the board. If you truly want to have a career path that's going to take you through the organization, you have got to learn how to speak with clarity. You have to learn how to speak with less words, because using all these words is taking time away from my life that I'm never going to get back. And if you think people want to engage with someone who has no clarity, with no vision, that rambles on, you will continue to get bypassed and overlooked for your next promotion. You will not be taken seriously at work. You will continue to be seen as the person who's going to get the coffee and make the copies. If you want to change, you have got to take time to reflect. You have to take time to think. You have to figure out what is your message and create a clear, executable plan on how you're going to deliver it consistently over time. My name is Catherine Cantey. I'm an executive coach and a podcast host. And today we are sharing 3 things that I've just observed through one conversation about a leader who wants to get promoted and is not gaining the recognition. And a lot of times people will ask me, what kind of work do you do, Catherine? And I will share that I help leaders create recognizable leadership change. I partner with teams and individuals and businesses, and we create measurable leadership change using practical applications, creating accelerated and sustained results. It is phenomenal what these leaders are able to do. And very often we think that it has to be uber complex. It doesn't have to be complex. We can use practical applications, but the first step to change is realizing that today's the day that I'm willing to stop reacting to everything that's coming to me. I have to start living with intention. I have to start planning. I have to start finding time for clarity and focus. And I've got to be able to create a plan that can be executable. So my name again is Catherine Cantey. I'm an executive coach with a podcast called Business Vitality, where we share best practices of leaders who've been there and done that. And I think if we're all able to come together and be able to share these lessons that we've been able to learn and pay it forward, we can all just get a little bit better along the way. I know that I have suffered from the word vomiting that just happens sometimes at the end of the day. I'm still guilty. I can come home and I just want to dump or just want to share. But I know that if I'm in front of somebody where I need to have a impactful conversation, I have to speak with clarity and I have to plan ahead of time. And if your career is worth it, you have got to speak with clarity and you have to create time to plan. So try to eliminate just this vomiting of words. And something else that I've also seen that has helped is sometimes I will raise my hand and say, I've got some information. I'd like to be able to share it. Are you ready to listen? I had one time in my career, I drove 7 hours to a meeting, sitting in this conference room, strategic planners, the whole 9 yards, and I've got an idea. I said, I've got an idea. I'd love to be able to share it. Are you ready? I got told no. No, I don't want to hear from you, Catherine. That right there was the eye-opening experience that I needed to hear. I could read very clearly between the lines and the words that were coming at me. It's time just to move on. And it's okay. It was a great run. I loved every minute of it. But it was just time. It was time for me to grow and time for me to figure out the next thing. And I would never have known that if I didn't ask the question, can I share? So instead of me word vomiting at the conference room table with a strategic plan with all kinds of ideas that they should have been considering, I just framed it as, can I share? Are you ready? They said no. That gave me a door that opened that allowed me to move on to the next phase of my life. And I am grateful for it. It hurt really bad in the beginning. But once you reflect back, you realize that it was just time for change. And sometimes change can come to you that clearly. So if you're looking for a promotion, you're wondering why you're not gaining that recognition, these were some things that popped up this past week. The first one is check the attitude. Make sure that you've got the attitude that people want to be around you, that they're bringing you along, that you're helping other people. The second thing is make sure you're negotiating with intention. Consider the 3 to 1. The 3 are lead with kindness. Find 3 different ways to just continue to lead with kindness, with value, with help, support, and then come back and follow up with the individual and let them know that you want to stay here, you want to grow. So you can reiterate all this good stuff and then come back and have an ask. But you can't ask every single time, and you have to give before you can receive. The third thing is reduce the amount of words that you're using to communicate. If you want to be seen as an executive, you have to speak like an executive. And when you look at a CEO of a very large organization, they speak with clarity, they speak with smooth, concise language. How does your language compare to their language? And how can you get there? I will guarantee you it's going to take time, planning, and intention. My name is Catherine Cantey. I'm an executive coach and a podcast host. I partner with teams and individuals and leaders, and we create measurable leadership change using practical applications that are creating accelerated results for our clients. If you are wondering if I might be able to help, you are not alone. I have a lot of folks that reach out to me, and the conversation starts with, I'm not sure if you can help me, but can you listen? Very often, we listen, we talk, we co create a plan, and the results are able to take place. I had one leader that reached out to me, and he shared that he wasn't sure how he was going to get there, but he knew what he needed. We created a plan, and I created the how solution of how we were able to get there. He didn't have to worry about it. We were able to work together. I could hear what his needs were, and we could solve for the problem together. Again, my name is Catherine Cantey. I'm an executive coach and a podcast host. I would love for you to reach out to me. I'd love to hear any kind of comments, feedback. Does this hit home? Do you know someone like this? Do you have someone who needs help? Reach out, let me know. It's always good to hear from you, and thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time. Bye.